All right, what's up, Ball Nation? Welcome back. Another week, another win. It's becoming like clockwork now. Believe in the hype. We are back, not losing again until we'll get to that. Maybe this week, maybe next week. We'll see. But Tennessee is on a bit of a roll right now. 45-20 victory over the Gamecocks at home. Josh Heupel's first SEC home matchup. Tennessee dominates the first half, 38-7. Kind of teeters off a little bit in the second half. We might discuss that here in a second. Could be a factor, some different things. Overall, another week of an offense scoring at will, a defense making plays. And a real exciting time for the Vols to have 2 weeks of just putting up offensive numbers, 500 yards plus, and just going out there and doing the job that we need to do. So, guys, what are some things that you saw that you enjoyed most? There were a lot of positives, a lot more positives, very few negatives. So, what were some things that really caught your eye and made you happy about Saturday?
For me, of course, I like seeing an offense that, like you said, scores at will. It shows that we have a great coaching staff that has taken a patchwork, paper-thin team and has turned them into reaching their full potential, which is something that the former staff couldn't do. I mean, for example, the former staff had all these 4- and 5-star guys coming in, and they are all gone now, and they're not doing much at their schools. But we have these kind of backup reserve guys that didn't see the field very much over the past couple of years. They're out here making great plays, and it's like, why were they not out there to begin with? So I like seeing that aspect to where our coach can identify talent, but it also shows me that he can develop as well. I really, really, really like that. Our defense is doing great. Tim Banks, great hire, probably the most underrated hire on this staff, because I'll be honest, I didn't think that we'd be very good at defense. I thought we'd be an offense-heavy run-and-gun team, and it'd be a lot of high-scoring 45-40, 45-42 type games. But our defense has held its own. I mean, granted, they haven't played really, a great team yet. I mean, Florida's been the best that we've played, and still, I think our defense did well. It was just our offense couldn't get it going in the second half for a plethora of reasons. But I like seeing when we're at full health, we can score, we're dominant, and I think that will carry over. If you look at it, South Carolina last week, their fans had told me on Twitter that they had a top 25 defense and that's the best defense we played this year. If that is the case, and that is actually true, which I did not see it personally, but if that's actually true, that makes me feel really, really good coming into this weekend, knowing that we went up against a top 25 defense and hung 45 on them like it was nothing.
Yeah, there were a lot of positives. Like you said, mainly positives. I thought it was really good just right out of the gate again this week, similar to how we did against Missouri, just really stomping on the gas pedal right out of the gates, taking the first few drives down for touchdowns. It was good. I really like that Heupel was able to kind of game plan his first, second, and third drives. And you could tell, it was pretty evident to me that on that first drive, we saw something on film that South Carolina was playing pretty off on Felix Jones Jr. and Javonte Payton, and we were setting them up for a lot of screens early on, and they were getting big chunk plays. And then once you get them outside on the edge, right, that's, your linebackers are flying outside. Then you had Tyon Evans just hitting it right up the gut. So I really like that he's able to do that. We've seen that in pretty much every game, even against Florida, draw up something to score early on. And I hope we continue to see that because, I'm not going to say this isn't a team that can come back from behind the way we're able to score so fast, but against a team like Ole Miss, who also has that ability, we're going to have to score early and often. And So I really want to be able to see us keep up that pace. It was good to see Jalen Hyatt back. Welcome back, Jalen Hyatt, to the 2021 season. Good to see you. Knew you could do it. Great catch, great throw. That was awesome to see. And then just how opportunistic our offense is. I mean, you go down, South Carolina's driving, getting some momentum. It almost felt like the swing, the game was about to swing, kind of momentum shift. And then you get that interception. And then Tennessee doesn't miss a beat. They go right back down the field and score again. So that was really nice to see. Second half, I two things here. I don't think we're going to be able to do that this week, even if we can, help it, for one. But I don't think that I don't think it was. What I'm trying to say is I think it was intentional. I think Heupel knew that we had some guys out, and we really needed everyone to be healthy for this game coming up this weekend against Ole Miss. And I don't think that the game was put away. I mean, unless you just had a total collapse on defense. So I'm not going to blame him too much. I just hope we don't see it again this week. But yeah, the defense still playing really good. Brian Turnage had a really good first game. It was good to see him step up and make some plays. And just, really overall pretty positive things there. South Carolina was never a threat. It was never in question. And that's, like we were saying, Adam, that's the way it should have been.
Yep. And for me, you all mentioned some takeaways I had on my mind. One thing that stuck out to me was the discipline. Another week without any turnovers. Are we back to like the Pitt game when Hooker threw that interception was the last time we've turned the ball over? That's through Florida, through Missouri, and now South Carolina, and obviously the Tennessee Tech Division 7 school that we played. Very, very very disciplined. We've seen a lot of undisciplined plays in the past. Not only just protecting the ball, creating turnovers as well, but one of the things is we weren't doing dumb stuff. I think the first penalty that was called on us was the Jeremy Banks 15-yard roughing the passer. And that, in my mind, was absolutely horrible call. He was in the air, lunging himself when the ball was still in the quarterback's hand. What are you supposed to do? Just stop in midair. But again, we've seen this from Jeremy Banks, so it makes it a little bit worse. But I don't think he did anything wrong in that. It wasn't anything earth-shattering. And as far as the second half, I definitely think, Trey, you mentioned of holding some guys. Jabari, he even said later that Jabari Small could have played if needed. We didn't want to risk that. We utilized the guys that we needed to utilize, something that we all three said at the beginning of this year. Dating back to watching Alvin Kamara get 5 touches in a big game. And it's like, what are you doing? And, I'm not here to talk about the past and coaches, but it's something we've seen for years. Cordero Patterson, the guy couldn't run a route, but we're seeing him in the NFL now be utilized. And I think coming into this week, he was like the 3rd or 4th best fantasy running back. And it was like, Patterson, really? But we all know, and I saw an article, they were like the best kept secret of a guy who gets an open field. And I was like, we've known this since the NC State game, when they were talking about, how good, their safeties were, and we were just burning them. We want to see talent utilized. Velus Jones, 6 receptions, 103 yards. And it wasn't just like, we got to keep pounding the ball. It was like, I texted my buddy and I said, I want a Velus screen pass early. And it was the first play, screen pass 25 yards. Boom. You get those guys the ball, they're going to make things happen. Tyon had 16 carries. Hooker had 20 carries. Guys are being utilized. And I'll say it right now. I don't know if he's our guy. I hope he is. I don't want to say I think. But Heupel can coach. he can flat out coach. Now, the question is going to be, can he make the necessary adjustments when people figure things out? You know, it's like Major League Baseball bringing in a rookie pitcher with just filthy stuff that you haven't seen. And they're just rolling out there, just throwing 10 Ks a game. And then they start watching film. They start realizing the RPMs of the ball and different things like that. And they start understanding the way that their sinkers break and different things like that. Then you have to make adjustments. That's going to be the biggest question. And I think we're going to see that this week. Ole Miss is going to throw some things at us. Are we going to be able to make the necessary adjustments if they stop what we're doing? Or are we just going to fold? And we've seen coaches in the past who have folded. Heupel can coach. We haven't been able to say that about somebody in a while. It's just whether or not he can continue to do the things. We'll get to the Ole Miss game here in just a second. We're going to move into talking about our Vol of the week. And I'm going to let Maddie take this one over and has a special kind of thing to talk about that's very important this week.
So, if you are on Twitter and you're a part of all Twitter, then I'm sure you've seen a page called the Phil Nealon Fund going around. I've had people ask me if I knew if that was legit. Well, it is. The guy who runs it, awesome guy, was told not to name drop. Basically what he does is there's a Venmo set up. It's at Phil Nealon, and you send him money, and he buys tickets and posts them, like shows that they're there and shows who they go to, when they're received and everything. So it's not a scam. He buys tickets for people who may not have a ticket, and then there's a generator that he uses that just picks random names. And I think that's really cool because over the past few weeks, people have sent in pictures to him and have told him, like, we're having financial problems and my son really wanted to go, but he's never been before, and this is the only way we could go. And I think that's awesome. Like, it's really showing how Vols help Vols, how that's more than just a slogan that the university uses. It's a real life thing. Vols do help Vols. And I just think that's super awesome because I've never seen anyone just go out of their way and take their time to ensure that people's butts are in seats, because A, it helps the players, but B, it's a great experience. And if you may not be able to get up there and do that on your own, it's great to know that there are other people out there that are pitching forth $5, $10, $50 even to have you there. It makes me really happy to know that there's still good people in the world. So that's my Vol of the week, Phil Nealon Fund. If you are able to, go to their Venmo and donate. If you want to pull up their Twitter and kind of check them out first, and there's a link on there to donate. It's at Phil Nealon Fund. Highly recommend you do so.
We say it often. Vol Nation is a special thing to be a part of. We might be a little crazy and cuckoo, but when it comes down to it, I've seen all week long people on Twitter trying to help each other, trying to get them to the game, and what Phil Nealon does is great, phenomenal, getting people there that may never be able to see a game. So that's an awesome thing to check out. All right, now we move to the opposite. Before we pick our predictions for the Ole Miss game preview, is our Negavol of the week. I'll let one of you guys go ahead and start if you would like.
Well, shocker, I've got Vols picks.
Oh man.
I know, who would have ever seen that?
What's his Twitter handle, by the way?
At VOLSPIS. God bless, dude. This guy, I truly I feel like he's a plant at this point from another school. He's another fan that has been planted to paint himself as a Vols fan to complain about literally everything. So my personal favorite that I've seen from this week, everyone knows the good old orange letters that we grew up with on top of the stadium, VOLS. And there are a lot of people, especially the older crowd out there, that has some attachment to these letters. And I mean, I think they're cool, but I'm not attached to them in the way that some people are. Well, enough people had tweeted Danny White to, maybe bring them back. So last weekend at the South Carolina game, he brought out some massive letters that said VOLS, just like people wanted. And everyone was so happy. I saw so many good reactions on Twitter, nothing bad. Until my guy Vols Picks comes in and says, suckers, ha ha, those were never the originals up on Neyland. They are not originals. This is con man crap. Boy, those originals have been gone for like 30 years. Where do you think he's going to find those? Danny White was probably in college when those things were removed. Like they're long gone. No one knows where those are. And so why are you complaining? Like, obviously, it's not like anyone thought that those were the original ones. Like, and he's out here calling him a con man. I don't get it. This guy, I don't know.
I'd like to see him and Lee Corso have a conversation. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, add in Lou Holtz for the kicker.
Oh, Lou. Haven't talked about him since our first show. Somebody called me out on that and said, don't bring my man Lou down. Well, when you talk like that and act like that, you kind of bring it on yourself. All right, Trey, who are you going with this week? After your brother totally owned him last week, where are you going this week with your negative ball?
Caleb loved that. He listened to the podcast. He texted me. He was cracking up, and he was like, "Yeah, that tweet blew up." He was like, 50-some people liked it. He was like, "I was just trying to prove him wrong." And he's like, "I searched Google one time and was instantly like 20 pictures popped up before, during, and after games." And,
yep.
But my negative all the week, Lane Kiffin. Just with all his rat poison, he's tweeting out, you guys gonna wear the black jerseys this week. He's saying we should be a top 25 team. He's playing Rocky Top at practice. He's just really trying to crap on our parade. And he's just, he's trying to just inject all the rat poison he can into this fan base leading into this game. And I think he's going to be welcomed with 102,455 booing fans on Saturday night to kind of reject that rat poison he's trying to feed out. But no, I really didn't. It was hard for me besides ball picks. And it's a good thing that it was hard for me to find anything negative. I mean, I think the overall morale of this fan base and the team and really just this town right now being in Knoxville is just at a place it really hasn't been since the 2016 season. So I think that's a really good sign. And if I would have told you guys before this season that we might be setting ourselves up for heartbreak against Ole Miss, I mean, you guys would have said, well, no, not really. Like, I kind of expect to lose, right? Am I not right? Maybe not you, Maddie, because you're pretty you got the orange sunglasses on. But Adam, wouldn't you agree if I told you that?
Yeah, I would have thought at the beginning of the year there's no way we'd even have this conversation.
Right. So, I mean, overall, it's a positive, right? I mean, I'm not trying to put it out there into the universe like that we're going to lose. I'm just saying if we do, we're going to feel something. It's not just going to be like, well, we were expecting to lose that one. It's going to kind of sting. So I like where we're at right now. And it's a testament to Heupel and what he's been able to do with this program so far.
All right. I'm going to end it with at Vols Picks. I have to every week, even if I can't find something, I'm going to dig up something from like years ago. It was hard for me to choose, but there was a one thing really quick was when it was talking about there was a thing on there that said Marlon Walls had tweeted out hype is on to something with eyeballs, and he put Balls Picks put definitely not a treadmill. I don't care if Josh Heupel was 3,000 pounds. I don't care what you look like. And I won't go too into it, but somebody found his actual profile and found a picture of him, and buddy, I don't know if you need to be talking about treadmills in your picture, eating some dessert. And I'm not calling you fat, but if you're going to sit there and complain about somebody else losing weight, you might want to eat some kale or something, or spinach on your profile picture. I'm definitely not going to go out there and call somebody fat when I have no room to talk about it. It's to me, it sounds like a 6-year-old who's trying to, like, where they're like, you need to do your work. Well, you're fat, as a comeback. Like, it's childish. But then the funniest thing is a thread that we could spend all show talking about, which is basically Ben McKee had tweeted out a conversation that Alex Galesh had said about talking about guys that didn't buy in, that were no longer here. And his response to that was, so they are now actually finally admitting that they're intentionally pushing kids out. And this was from actually last week, but the thread goes on. And he said, basically, if you weren't kissing the coaches' butts on day one, they pushed those kids out. Talking about the guys that didn't want to buy in. Do you realize, Vols Picks, that we were in the middle of an investigation where a lot of guys left that were being named to this investigation? Guys that accepted cash, accepted different things, that's names were being thrown out there by everyone, and we're like, no, they wouldn't leave. That's Henry T, that's Eric Gray, and they're gone. They're not gone because they got pushed out. They're gone because of the investigation, what happened, and because they wanted out. So don't act, like all that. And then later on, he says, the funniest thing, I'll leave with this, is talking about how overrated this team is this year. And he said we wouldn't, like, he literally said he would be shocked, and I'll have to go find it. He said he would be shocked if we won 3 or more games. Well, buddy, we're at 4, and I can go ahead and tell you that unless the earth blows up, we're probably going to win at least 2 more. But he honestly said, how good can this team be? Honestly, the Georgia State team would beat would beat UT this year. He said they was, good old lingo there, 7-5. They were pretty dang good. If y'all have a moment, go see who Georgia State played that year. Them going 7-5 and calling them pretty dang good is like me beating a 2-year-old in one-on-one basketball and then bragging about it. That Georgia State team wouldn't come within 50 of the team we are seeing this week. Maybe at the beginning of the year, it would have been a 42-10 game. Like, that guy, like, we could win out the rest of the year and that guy would still find something to complain about. So it's ridiculous. But anyways, we're going to move on to our final thing here. We've decided, and we'll put this on our Twitter, to do our pick'ems as a separate day. Give you all kind of an extra thing to listen to if you want to hear our picks. If you don't want to hear our picks, then you don't have to listen to it. But I'm sure you'll want to, because we are spot on and haven't missed a game yet. So Maddie didn't even miss a game last week. She was undefeated. So,
Wow, man.
all right. So we brought into Ole Miss. We've got Checker Neyland. It's sold out. 7:30 kickoff on SEC Network. As mentioned, Kiffin's been blaring Rocky Top. The Rat Poison has been there. We know what this matchup brings. We've got 2 high-octane offenses that have scored points at will. Tennessee coming in at 41.5 points per game. Ole Miss 46.2. And 561 yards of offense for Ole Miss, 474 for us. But they have allowed 429 yards. We've allowed 344. We talked about us. Arkansas rebounded from a pretty big loss to Bama to beat Arkansas in a thriller. We were talking about earlier before this, just chatting how amazing the college football weekend was. Bama goes down. We've got the Arkansas game, going for two. Pittman coming up, short there. The Notre Dame, the Notre Dame and Tech 85 quarterbacks coming in and playing, and you don't know who's going to be there. And even into the NFL, it's pretty interesting, especially if you watch the Bengals and Packers game, which nobody would really want to watch unless you're a fan, but nobody wanted to make a field goal. So we've got two high-octane offenses. We've got two teams that are moving the ball at will right now. The easy thing would be to say the team that wins is going to be the team that plays the best defense. On paper, that bodes well for Tennessee, but we know it's not as easy as doing a math problem there. So what do you guys, talk a little bit about what you think is going to happen, maybe some keys, what you hope will happen, what will happen, and go ahead and give me your score prediction for Saturday.
What I want to see a lot of is defense, because I know, like you said, there's going to be a lot of scoring. I mean, we're playing the guy who, in my opinion, is the Heisman clear cut right now. If I was a Heisman voter and I had to cast my vote right now, it's going to Matt Corral. There's no doubt about it. We got to contain him in some way. And while that's going to be hard, their defense, they have to contain our offense. Our defense is statistically towards the top in the nation. Theirs is towards the bottom. If we can continue to score at will, then I think our defense will come up with one extra stop. And that's all that it's going to come down to, is whose defense can come up with that one extra stop, make that one play that'll really shift momentum. I need to see us force a lot of turnovers, not necessarily a lot, but I think it would be like a 1 or 2 turnover thing would make a huge difference in the final outcome. I want to see health. I don't want to see anyone getting hurt. I don't want to see people going down in the first quarter. I'm sick of it. I think a lot of people have been rushing back from their injuries because they're just so eager to get on the field, but it's been good. Apparently we've had a really good week of practice. After the South Carolina game, some people have been rehabbing their stuff. I think we'll be pretty up to speed with everybody being back on the sidelines and being ready to go this week, with the exception of Juwan Mitchell. Bless my guy's heart. I hope you recover, Juwan. I want to see a lot of Tyon Evans. I need to see him getting a lot of touches, and as well as Bayless. I need him. I don't care what we do. I don't care if it's a jet sweep to him. I don't care if he's running 80 yards down the field and you hit him in a perfect stride. Get him the ball. It doesn't matter what it takes to get him the ball. Get him the ball and he will make the plays. And for my final score prediction, it's gonna be a high scoring one. I'm gonna go with 45-42 Tennessee.
All right, Trey, what you got?
So before I kind of dive into Ole Miss, I just wanted to mention this. Heupel was on the Vol Calls show tonight. First caller of the night, and this is just kind of a testament to what he's, kind of what he's been able to do so far. We're 6 games into the season. First caller said, "Thank God for you, son. You've got folks in West Tennessee flying their flags again. I'm so proud of you." And then the second caller said, "This big orange gear has been dusted off after 7 to 8 years." So I just thought that was pretty neat to, you don't really hear. I mean, when was the last time we heard that kind of energy on Vol Calls? But leading into the big game Saturday night, Ole Miss coming into town. Lane Kiffin returns home. It's kind of setting up. I've seen people putting it out there that Lane was kind of the one that started this whole mess, and we're kind of getting to exercise these demons on Saturday night. So it's going to be a rowdy crowd. I saw someone mention that it's probably going to be as loud as the 2016 or 2015 Oklahoma game. It could be because, with that game, it was more of just the excitement and the hope. Everyone was filled with hope and just looking forward to what Tennessee could be that season. But against Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, it's going to be more of an anger, right? I mean, people are hungry. They're mad. They're fired up. It's it's a 7:30 game. A lot of people haven't been coming, so there's going to be a lot of the diehards that are finally back after a couple of seasons. People didn't get to come last year, so first sellout, like you mentioned, in several years, 3 or 4 years, I believe. So definitely a hostile environment we're going to have Saturday night with the Checker Neyland as well. So two keys for me on the defensive side of the ball. It seems like every game that I've watched Ole Miss play, it kind of looks like they're starting to sputter a little bit offensively. And just when you think they're going to start kind of diving into more of the run game because their offense, their pass game's starting to sputter a little bit, it's just Matt Corral just throws an 80-yard bomb and there's no defender around. And it's just like, man, like that one play, it just seemed like it took the breath out of whatever team they were playing. And from there on, they didn't miss a beat. So limit the big plays. Don't give them up. That's number one. Number two, Ole Miss has actually attempted the most fourth down conversions in the country. I believe that's for two reasons. One, obviously their strength is their offense. But number two, I don't think that Lane believes in his defense. I think he's trying to tell us something there, right? And then if you watch the Arkansas game, how many times did they have a guy go down? How great is Ole Miss's depth, right? We haven't really talked about that too much, where they are as a program, like where they are, offensively, they're great. We know that. But if they start to get tired, our offense is going to be scoring pretty fast too. They haven't played an offense that scores as fast as we do outside of Alabama. And obviously we know they got absolutely, killed by Alabama, which that might be a reason, right? Alabama's scoring really fast. Ole Miss's offense right back out on the field, and they don't have the depth that they need either. That's pretty evident to me. So stopping them on fourth downs is going to be a key to this game. They average converting 75% of the time, which, that's going to be tough because if they're able to, it's just going to suck the life out of the stadium, out of our defense. So we're really going to have to step up big, like you were saying, Maddie, on those fourth downs and just limiting the big plays. Offensively, we shouldn't have an issue. Just like you were talking, Adam, continue to control the ball. Don't turn it over. Just take what they give you. Heupel, brilliant offensive mind. He'll drop a good game plan. We're going to have everybody healthy. Small should be back. Evans should be back. The rest writes itself. Unfortunately, I just think that Ole Miss is able to pull away a little bit late. I think it's going to be close, and I could be wrong. 100%. Tennessee could come in and win by 10 points, but I'm going to take Ole Miss. I got Ole Miss 41-37.
Well, I think you guys have hit on some good things. I think that our run game is very important because everybody's always heard about this offense being so quick and not an air raid, but just throwing the ball and the way that we have been able to do that is to be able to effectively run between the tackles. We're not just running jet sweeps and running screens and doing things. And those things have worked great. But all of that, for me, boils down to the way this offensive line has battled through and created holes. The way that the running game opens up the sideline to sideline vertical game has been a beautiful thing to watch. It's really, really difficult for a defense to game, scheme, and plan against an offense that, when it's moving, has no holes. We can run the ball. The quarterback can run the ball. We have height. We have speed. We now have something we haven't had in years, which is tight ends that can make plays, and we're utilizing them. Even if it's just – and that's one thing I love is we've seen coaches in the past who it seemed like every time the tight end touched the ball, it was for a 3-yard route on a 3rd and 10. And it's not getting you anywhere. Maybe a little bit of comfortable room, but it's not like you're backed up on your own end zone. You would be at midfield, a 3rd and 10, and you'd be throwing a 3-yard, out route to a tight end. we're having first downs and running that play and seeing the safeties drop back, obviously, but seeing the linebackers play off and getting just a 2-yard pass, getting up the field, falling forward, and it's 2nd and 4 just because of a little simple dump off. And it's those things that Heupel has done that's been brilliant. If our offense is moving, there are no holes. There aren't. Now, that doesn't mean our offense doesn't have holes. It does. We've seen the second half of the South Carolina game, but it was very just mundane of an offense. I mean, it was very basic. We didn't see the vertical game. We didn't see many, reads where, Hooker had his head up looking and taking it out and throwing it 15 yards down the field. The first half, it was, what are we doing? I love the play that, they got to the line quick. Everybody was looking up and they direct snapped it right to Tyon for the first down. I mean, it's things like that that's just smart. I think a key will be if our offense can continue that rhythm. We have yet to see our offense get out of rhythm when it's an actual game. I mean, they did that against South Carolina. We're up 31. Like, score 3 touchdowns, we're still up 10, And like Trey said earlier, it was never in doubt. There wasn't a part of me that was like, we might lose this game. And I'm a Colts fan. We were winning on Monday Night Football, and like I knew as soon as we're not going to win this game. I was texting my cousin, we're going in overtime. We're going to lose this game. Tennessee's not at that point where if they get up big, and it's not going to happen against Ole Miss, we're not going to get up big because Ole Miss, as Maddie mentioned, heck of a quarterback. I've been all over the place with this game. I came into tonight saying I have to go with my head, and I have to say I'll believe it when I see it. Forget it. I'm going with the Vols. I don't care. I think the atmosphere, will play a difference. I think the difference maker in this game is going to be one guy, and his name is Theo Jackson. And he's going to play this week, and he's going to make a huge play that's going to get the crowd pumped up. I'm betting on it now, not literally because I'm a teacher and I don't have enough money to bet, but I'm going to bet that he makes a big play. And my head still tells me that we are a great team. It's going to be a close game. We're just not there yet. But my heart's taking over right now. I'm believing in the hype. I believe this atmosphere is going to be the craziest we've had. You said it's time to exercise the demons. It's time. It's time to rewrite the history. We're going to go in. We're going to beat them. No, I'm just kidding. But this week, I'm going to go with a 7-3 win. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with a 48-47. And I don't know how they're going to get 47. I've not done the math yet. Figure that one out later. Maybe they get a safety or something. I don't care. We're going 48-47. I picked the score right last week. I said 45-20 Tennessee. It was right on the nail. So this week I'm going 48-47. Tennessee wins with a late play by Theo Jackson. He starts doing cartwheels on the field, gets a flag penalty. The crowd goes crazy. No one cares. We rush the field. We tackle Kiffin in the process. We tear down goalposts. Even if it's not even a top 10 ranked team, we don't care. We've exercised the demons, and we're going to go to a bowl later in the year, and we're going to finish 8-4 because we beat Kentucky too. But I'll see you next week when we lose to Ole Miss, and we hope that we can finish 6-6. That's what my head tells me, but my heart is overtaking it right now. So we got 2 out of the 3 picking Tennessee.
I'll be there, and I'll be rooting. You know what I'm saying? It feels too good to be true. I'm on board, but it's like I'm right by the exit door. I'm holding on to it because
And I said that against Pitt. I said that against Florida. I don't know. It's just something about this Saturday night game that it gets you a little bit excited because we haven't experienced it in a while. And I don't think we're back. I'm not here saying Tennessee football is back, but like the way it sets up, I like our defense a lot better than theirs. It's going to just come down to a few plays. And I think I like our defense at home, checkered Neyland, 102,000. If it was at Ole Miss, I'd probably pick Ole Miss by like 17, just because I would say they'd make the plays at the end and our crowd wouldn't be a factor. But Neyland makes a difference. Neyland makes a difference.
All right, you know what? It's a sellout. Checker Neyland. I'm flipping. I can't. You guys are on board. I can't pick against them.
Go.
He's gonna win this game.
All right. Well, you've heard it here. The Vols are gonna win. Future national championship winner in 2087. We are excited.
Saturday.
And y'all journey starts Saturday to exercise the demons. But we appreciate you guys joining us. Be sure to check out our picks as well. And we hope to come back next week 3 for 3 on the picks since Trey flipped. Let's go Vols.
Go Vols.
Go Vols.